In Geometry B today, we're going to finish up the last of our test review for Chapter 9, which is based on transformations. We only have a few problems left. So let's take a look at what's left. First of all, it tells us to identify these two triangles. So here's one triangle and here's the other. And they want us to be able to figure out how we can get from one to the other by using reflections, translations, rotations, or a glide reflection. A glide reflection is a fancy way for how can you move it so it can kind of slide over and then reflect to be able to get in the right spot. So let's take a look at some of these because this is kind of hard, I think, for students. So first of all, I am going to go through and highlight the pieces. So first of all, D and H seem to match up here, so D and H are going to match up here. Then E and I and F and G. Now, just knowing that kind of helps me to figure out my plan of what I'm going to do. Now, first of all, there's one on here that seems really obvious to me that it doesn't work, and I just want to show you this. First of all, a glide reflection, or excuse me, the reflection of x equals 5. That means if I went over to x equals 5, that would be right there. So if this were going to reflect, it would have to be over here somewhere, which it's not. So I can see automatically it's not that. But the rest of these, it might help me to have a list of points for D, E, and F, and then a list of points for H, I, G, so we can see exactly how the points get moved. So D is -6, 8. E is -3, 8. F is -3, 4. H is 2, 0. I is 5, 0. And G is 5, 4. So first of all, if I were going to do a rotation of any kind, I would basically have points that would be opposites of each other and maybe flipped in sign depending on what we were doing some rotation. So I can tell you right now the rotations aren't going to happen in this order because I have numbers that don't have anything to do with each other all the way down. So I know it can't be this and it can't be this, which really leaves us for this kind of an answer. So first of all, let's talk about what it means. A glide vector means you're going to have this vector that's going to change your values. So basically I'm going to add 8 to both of these. And then we're going to deal with this y equals 4. So first of all, you can see how each of these first ones have an 8 that happens between them. Okay? Then I have some kind of change that's going to happen around the y equals 4. So y equals 4 is up here. So once I slide it down 8, then I'm going to reflect it over this y equals 4, which looks like if I were to slide this over and then flip it down, you would definitely see how it would fit on top of there. Okay, dash line is a dilation image of the solid one. So really in this one you can see how I'm going to have to go the solid one is a dilated, it says the dashed one is a dilated image of the solid one. So the solid one's a big one, and I'm somehow going to have to go to this little one. That means that it's going to have to be a reduction. The only way reduction is going to happen is if I have a number that's less than 1. So I definitely see that one's off the, talking about it all. But let's just look at these points to see if we can figure out an easy way to figure out how they happened. So this point in the big one is 4, 4. And that would match up with this one, which is 2, 2. Now looking at those numbers, you can see they really just basically cut them in half to go from one to the other. So that means that the scale factor is going to have to be 1/2. Okay, last problem. The blueprint for a house has a scale factor of 1/35. And a wall in the blueprint is 3 inches. So first of all, this is kind of like the scale factor, and this is real life. So if it's 3 inches on the blueprint, that's still in the scale. I want to figure out the length. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my cross multiplying. So 1x equals 3 times 35, which means 1x equals 105. Now remember, that answer is in inches though. There's no 105 inches up here. So I'm going to have to take this and divide it by 12 inches so I can figure out how many feet that would be. And that would be 8.75 feet. So my answer is going to be B. See how they're trying to trick you with this one? And also with this one. So be very careful in figuring yours that you actually use the right units.